Good morning everybody and welcome back to I Loaf You. So today we are going to be making Danish. So you can fill these with all kinds of things, whatever your preference is. But we are going to make the Danish dough and I will make them into types of Danish that my family will eat. So we will get started. So we are going to start with our sugar and our water and our milk, so that we can add in our yeast. So I have it in ounces. Right, so we're gonna get our water also in here, and then we are actually going to heat it in the microwave for a couple seconds because I do need it to be about 90 to 100 degrees so that it activates our yeast. So we are going to put our warm milk and water, our sugar, and our active dry yeast into our mixing bowl. And you just want to whisk those together so that it activates the yeast. We're just gonna set that aside to let it dissolve and foam up a little bit. All right, so now we are going to add our flour on top of our yeast mixture, followed by our salt, our cinnamon, vanilla. We're gonna crack our egg in. And not drop the shell in, and our melted butter. And then we are going to mix this all together until it's one cohesive dough ball. So now that our dough is mixed, we are going to remove it from the bowl momentarily. I'm going to spray our bowl down with pan spray. And then we are going to just return the dough back to the bowl, and we're going to cover it in plastic wrap. And you want to let it sit at room temperature until it's doubled in size, or should take about an hour and a half or so. All right, I have our dough here, which I actually let rise for a good 2 full hours. My room that I'm working in is a little bit chilly. So you can see it has doubled in size. It's nice and soft. It's a little warm. So I'm just gonna pull that out onto a floured work surface. And we wanna make sure that we have a good coating of a little bit of flour on both sides. And we are gonna roll this out to just over 1/4 inch thick. And we are going to get our room temperature butter put into it, and we want to get this locked in so it doesn't squeeze out all over the place as we're rolling it out. But we will get started here, and I will show you each step of the process as we go. So now that we have our dough started rolling out, I'm just gonna take my soft butter and I'm gonna spread this right on here. I did accidentally soften my butter a little too much, so I'm going to work with it and make it work. But you want to definitely try not to melt your butter when you're softening it, or just leave it at room temperature. So we're just gonna spread this evenly across and then get it folded up. So I like to fold a tri-fold away from you, well, towards yourself, and then away from yourself, and then in from your right, and in from your left. And then we need to roll this back out to about the same size, and we're gonna fold it again before we let it rest for a good 15 minutes. And then we repeat the process over again. We want to fold it in like this a total of 4 to 5 more times, with it resting in between. That way it's able to roll out. Now we will rest this for 15 minutes and come back and we will roll it out again once the dough is more relaxed. I am going to clean up a little bit around our dough here because it does make a little bit of a mess the first few times you're rolling it out. have cleaned up our counter a little bit, and, oh, sorry about the noise here. We are going to wrap this very well in saran wrap because this is going to expand in the refrigerator and we don't want it to expand and make a mess everywhere. So I do wrap it pretty tightly, and then I will put it also in a bowl. That way it's not going to roll around everywhere once it starts to expand. This is just to seal it up, and we are going to leave it in the refrigerator overnight. You don't want to do anything with it until the next day. So we have our nice neat package here, and I will show you what this looks like tomorrow when we go to actually form our Danish. It is officially the next day, and I've taken our Danish dough out of the refrigerator. It is nice and risen and it's nice and cold. So we are going to unwrap this now. And take it right out onto our floured work surface. So I am going to put a little more flour on top, as well as some flour in a bowl just off to the side, so that way I can use it as bench flour if I need a little extra flour, if we're starting to stick. So now we want to roll this out nice and thin. So we're gonna start, you just wanna press down to start to roll it out so that you're not breaking it all apart and making a mess everywhere. This is your easiest way to start to roll it out. And then we'll rotate, and you want to press the other way. So we're just going to continue this until it gets thin enough that it's easy to roll out. Now mind, we do want to work with this cool, not too close to room temperature at all. So again, we will just continue rolling this out, and we'll check back in when we get there. It's about a 1/4 inch thick or so. I just want to put a little bit of water across it. So I am just pouring out a tiny bit of water and just spreading it around with my hand. And then we are going to add our cinnamon and sugar. All right, so the cinnamon sugar mixture that I'm using is 1 part cinnamon to 2 parts sugar. So however much you need to use. I just made a little batch because I can use it for other things in the future. So now we're just going to spread this over, not too thick, but just enough to have a good coating. Fold it in half so that the cinnamon side is on the inside, because now we need to roll this out again so that we can begin to cut, twist, and form our Danish. that we are rolled back out, it's a little bit thicker than it was before, but it's rolled out as far as I can get it. So now we are just going to divide this up into maybe about a half-inch strips, just all the way across, because these are each going to be our Danish. So my batch made 11 strips. So I'm going to show you 2 different ways to do this today. So I'm actually going to pull you in a little bit closer and I will show you the 2 different styles of Danish. Okay, so our first style, we're going to take a strip, hopefully one that I've actually cut all the way through to the table. You're just going to take it and you're going to twist the ends in opposite directions, just so that it spirals up. You just want to be careful that you're not going to tear the Danish. Just want to make it nice and coiled together. And then we're going to start with one little piece, and you want to start to just curl this up, sort of like a snail. We'll just continue to curl this all the way up here. And then we take our rogue end here and just tuck it underneath. And I pinch it together in the center a little bit. There you have your traditional spiral Danish, which we are going to do 6 of them as that, and I'm going to make 5 of them as our second style. So I will form all of those and then I will come back to show you the second style. Okay, so the next style that we're going to be doing, you still want to twist your Danish in the same way in opposite directions. But then we are going to take the ends and twist them together so that we have a circle. And then we are going to twist this as a figure 8. And then I just fold it up so it sort of braids. It's not too big, but it's really just twisting it up. So if you can make a nice looking twist, any real fashion you want to do, but this is how I do it. So now we will get the rest of these twisted up. I'll come back. So now we just want to put these in a humid environment or keep them in a relatively warm room because we want these to rise. They'll about double in size. And then we can fill them, and these ones we can top. We're going to be doing some nut Danish with some of these. So I will get back to you once these rise. All right, so our snail style Danish have risen. And I'm going to be making 3 different flavors, so I'm just marking our parchment paper so that I don't screw up which are which. So we are going to start by pressing down just the center of our Danish, just so we have a nice place to put our filling. And then I have a scoop. You don't need any specific size scoop. You just want to put in enough for what you like in the middle of your Danish, and you can press it in once it's on there too. So I'm doing 2 strawberry, 2 raspberry, and I'm not sure what the other flavor is going to be yet. But once we get them filled, I will get these in the oven. So now we are going to stick these in the oven, and I'm going to start at 10 minutes. You want it nice and golden brown on the outside, so we will get these baking. Now we have our other Danish, which I'm going to make a few of these nut Danish. My grandfather is not a huge fan of the fruit and the icing, so I have crushed up some pecans in our leftover cinnamon and sugar, and I am just going to press these in along the length of the Danish. So for my 2 Danish, I apologize for the bell in the background. There is a cat playing with a toy in the other room. I have a product that I'm going to actually try out in my Danish. It's called Wanna Date. This one is a vanilla date spread that I'm very excited to put in Danish. I loved this, and we were actually given this jar to try out. So I am just going to open it up, and I am going to just put little dollops of it along the length of my Danishes, because I think that this will go very well and complement the flavor of the cinnamon in the Danish. Again, I will let you know how this is. There are multiple flavors of the date spread, which are all available online. I will link the website in the description down below. We actually met the owner when we were at the food show a couple weekends ago. But again, it is very good. It's all natural, no nuts, no oils. It is vanilla flavor, dates, and a little bit of sugar. And again, one a day. So I'm gonna try that out in these Danish. So now we will get this in the oven and I will check back when this is all set. Our first batch of Danish just came out of the oven. So what I'm doing is taking 1 part honey to 2 parts very hot water in a bowl and just mix those together with a brush of some sort. We're using a silicone basting brush here. You just want to mix it around until the honey is dissolved into the water. And then we are just going to brush this on the dough portion of our Danish, not over top of the jelly, because you will make a mess. Now this will keep our Danish soft for longer. It'll improve the shelf life since we don't have any dough stabilizers of any sort in there to make them last longer. Because obviously, since this is a 2-day process, you might want to make it the night before you're going to eat them rather than first thing in the morning. But this will just keep the Danish itself soft. So once we've gone around all 6, we will go around them again with the honey water. I like to do 2 passes with it on the dough just to make sure that I'm getting as much out of it as I possibly can to improve the shelf life and keep them nice and soft.